podcast. I was just about to say Convos Collabs, which is the previous name, but I decided to streamline a lot of the things that I'm doing. I've been doing Rules of Ross for those of you who have been following me for the past, let me say, like 2 or 3 years. Back in 2000 and I want to say 18, I started Rules of Ross, which was a blog that is still on today. And what I do is I share my experiences, both personal and professional, and tips, insight, experiences, and I just share in order to help you. And my goal is to something from my lesson, from my experience, you'll be able to use and take into your life either now or maybe sometime in the future. And so when I started Convos and Collabs last year in the middle of the pandemic, it was something good, catchy, because I was really focusing on having conversations that could help business owners or just leaders in general with providing them with tips and tools that they can use to help, elevate their business, their mindset during the pandemic, because it was super heavy. But what I ended up doing now that we're in 2021 was saying, hey, let me streamline, let me practice what I preach, and let me streamline my brands. And so I decided to change the name of Convos and Collabs to Rules of Ross. And a lot of people know me for my Rules of Ross. I use my hashtag Rules of Ross in all of my postings. And so it just made sense. And so this is the first episode of the new named podcast, Rules of Ross Podcast. And I am here. Let me put that up so you can see the name, right? Welcome to the Rules of Ross Podcast. Boom. And I am your host. For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, Derek D. Ross. I'm a brand and creative strategist and a publicist. Been in the game for a little over 16 years now, full-time entrepreneur for over 6 years. And today we're going to be talking about taxes, audits, PPP loans. Oh my. And what you need to know to prepare you for this 2021 tax season. And I am with my friend and my financial coach, Coach Janelle Montgomery. She's a financial coach and a CPA. What's up, Coach Janelle?
Hey, how's it going? I am excited to be your first guest on this podcast. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
No problem. Like, you were the first guest on Confidence Collabs when I first started that. So it's like, it's a season of first.
Hey, that's awesome. Hey, I'll take it. I really am honored to be on this podcast. So thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. And so today, guys, we're just really going to jump straight into it. We want to make sure that we maximize the time that we have together. So get your notepads, get your pens, share this with a friend if you think that they can benefit from, tax strategies we're going to be talking about that you can use to legally reduce your taxes, right? We want to put that in there legally. And although we're providing advice and tips, you definitely want to make sure, and Coach Chanel will probably reiterate this, but make sure that you are consulting a CPA in your state, in your area. So although we'll be talking broadly, giving you some ideas, you also want to make sure that you have a certified CPA to do your taxes. If you're not one, or if you're not using one of the apps like TurboTax or something like that to do your taxes. So, and then also we're going to be talking about audits, right? Coach Janelle did an amazing live about maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was like, I got to have her on. And the IRS there's a 50% increase in audits from the IRS. And so we're going to talk about why that is and 2 key reasons so that you can avoid it. And then we're also going to talk about PPP loans. We know that the Biden administration, they're about to push out another round of PPP loans. And so we're going to talk to you, the entrepreneurs, about how you can best use those and prepare for that distribution to come down so that you can be in the best position possible to receive as much as you can so that you can roll and run your business while we're still in the midst of navigating this pandemic. So, Coach Janelle, I want the people to know a little bit more about you. So one thing that I'm always curious about is why people go into the fields that they go into. And so, especially from a place of being an accountant, right? So what made you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to be a CPA?
Wow, that is a great question. So I will say this, that I have always, ever since I can remember, and this is like the weirdest thing, like no one at 2 years old is like, let me be an accountant, but I can show you like those tests. So like for me, I remember living in Germany because my dad was in the military, and I would always go to the store with my mom, but and I would see like transactions take place. Like
Hmm.
mom would give money, then she'll get change back. And I don't know why, but I was so fascinated by that. Like I would ask, money from my dad, and I would like for me, I would love to be the person who would give the cash and then expect to receive the money back. And it
Uh-huh.
was at that moment where I was like, oh my goodness, when I grow up, I want to be a cashier. I
Not
was
a
like,
cashier.
yeah, I was like, listen, I cannot wait to be a cashier because
Uh-huh.
those people have so much money. This is going to be amazing. And then my dad came in and like just deflated my dreams.
Oh, wow.
No, he let me know that the person who is running the cash register,
Uh-huh.
not the person, like, is not able to keep the money. So I'm like, okay. But I did achieve my dream job when I was 16 of being a cashier.
Okay.
That was great. But I just knew, like, for me, it was like ever since I was, I don't know, I would say around 9 or even 10, I wanted to be a CPA.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
I had a knack for numbers. I like numbers, and I just like just the transaction
Mm.
with money. And so that's always been an interest of mine. And so, this is, I guess I didn't choose the game. The game chose me,
I like that.
so it chose me. So it's definitely been great.
Wow. I mean, and that's always interesting because they always say that, as kids, there's signs, right? There's signs of, what we are gifted at and where our talent lies. And it's really one of the jobs as a parent is to see those seeds, and cultivate those seeds and sow into it, right? Whether it's words of affirmation, whether it's, backing, the child up and giving them the tools and the resources they need to pursue that talent that begins to blossom at an age when, we're all trying to figure out, what we want to do and what we're good at. And so I love that story because I think it's a lesson not only to parents but people who are also guardians, right? Who are, aunts and uncles and any of those that has, the role of being a mentor or influence in a child's life. Part of our roles as adults, is to see those gifts and those early signs of talent in the next generation, and then cultivate and sow into those individuals so that they can, have the early start to get, where they are destined to be in life. So I love that story and that depiction of your dad saying, no, 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 baby, hold on, they don't have the money, it's not theirs, but this is what you can do and this is what you can be. And so that's amazing. That's awesome. So fast forward, right, to today. Previously, right before your current role, you also was a professor, right? So you taught accounting at the university level. How was that? Did you ever want to be a teacher?
Oh, that is a great and interesting story. So, I became a CPA, been working in the accounting field, and realized in a very short amount of time that this, there has to be something more than this, right? For me.
Uh-huh.
So I found out that I really enjoyed communication, and
Mm,
I really enjoyed consulting and helping people out in their business. And here's the thing, like, I was helping companies save, and I'm helping them leverage their companies using financial management. And so I don't know, it's just something that's in you, right? And I'll say this, that I feel like this is God sort of instilled it in me and
uh-huh.
let me know that I had a gift of teaching. And so that's what really sparked in me, because where else would that desire come from? Like, for me,
Mhm.
it was just weird. Like, okay, I want to teach. I want to help people understand difficult concepts and make it easy. And
That's
so
good.
once that happened, there really wasn't a way for me to get into that field, but I was so determined, like, this is what I was called to do, that I was able to achieve that in a very short amount of time. I mean, yes, it took patience, but I'm still in the field of education, and I actually still am a professor, as well too, but I'm faculty as well. So, but it's instilled in me, like, So for me, I just knew, like, I just knew that this is what I was called to do.
I mean, I love that because it shows the what I like to say, the multiple hats that your gift can open up doors for, right? So a lot of people, and especially early on when I was navigating my career,
Mm,
a lot of individuals, younger individuals who I would go speak to universities as a guest speaker, and they would be so focused on one aspect of an industry, right?
mm,
So, with communications, they just wanted to be either on TV or in radio. And so one of the things that I love about your story, it shows the various channels that you can do as an accountant, right? You can be a professor and teach, right? You can be a faculty member, you could be a consultant, you could start your own business, or you can work for, a company and just have the title and just use your functional expertise within someone else's business. But there's multiple hats that you can wear based off of your skills, and a lot of those foundational skills, so to speak, right? Leadership, listening, you know that entrepreneurial spirit. I think we all have that spirit in some capacity, whether it's enough for us to want to start our own business or just to come up with great ideas within somebody else's company is I guess per individual. But I love how, you weren't afraid to embrace that journey and try new things, which gave you a lot more insight into you as a person, right? And spreading and growing you in different directions so that now you have a lot more depth that you can bring to any table that's very different than a lot of other people. So those who are listening, I just want you to think about the depth of your experience and how everything that you've had your hand on and things that you've been a part of has really stretched and grown you to give you a unique perspective and experience that a lot of other people don't have. And that's why, when they say you are uniquely you and no one else has your experience, these stories and these journeys are a part of that. So kudos to you for just stepping into those spaces and just saying, like you said, the patience that it takes. But eventually you're going to get to the place of mastery. You just got to keep going.
mm. I love that you said that because it makes me think of people who come to me, or when I'm having conversations with friends and they're like, no one's done what I've done, or this is I took a different journey, and I'm thinking like, no, that's perfect. Like your unique experiences, your strengths, your weaknesses all culminate together in order to create your journey. And
Mhm.
so it really just makes me realize that, okay, I didn't go the traditional accountant route, but where it landed me is in a great place, and I know that there's more. Like I already know, like it's happening right now and it's unfolding before my eyes. And so just knowing that everything has a plan and purpose and
Mhm.
sets you up for your next. And so that's one thing that I think that is real amazing. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, those of you who are tuning in now, what's up? Welcome to the Rules of Ross podcast. I am your host, Derek D. Ross, and I am with the amazing Coach Janelle, financial coach and CPA. And we're going to be talking about taxes, audits, PPP loans. Oh, my. So, right now, we're just kind of setting a foundation, getting you to know a little bit about Coach Janelle, her expertise, and why she is the financial coach and CPA you should be checking for to help you in this 2021 tax season. And so, for those of you who are in, drop a comment, participate, share with a friend. Let us know if you have any questions as we are conversing, and we're going to keep this train rolling. So, Coach Janelle, let's go ahead and just get into it. Like, I really want to go ahead and talk about it. Right, we're in the midst of the 2021 tax season for 2020, right? So it's 2021, but we're talking about 2020 taxes. So what are some strategies now? Because there's been a lot going on, and so, for from your experience, what are some of the key elements, right? The high level elements that people should be paying attention to, because we got the stimulus check, $1,200 in 2021. Some folks got PPP loans for their businesses. And some people are just trying to figure out, are there any credits out there? What are some ways that they can reduce their taxes and really save money as they begin to file in this season for 2021. So I'll let you start wherever you want to go with it because you are the expert. Wherever you want to go with it, I'm here to listen and take notes myself. So yes. Go ahead. The mic is yours.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with tax season 2021. What are some things that you guys need to know? Listen, like, first of all, don't let it stress you out, right? I know there's been stimulus, PPP money, idle loans, and idle grants, and all of that happening, right? So, where can we take this, right? So, right now, what I want to do is definitely speak to the individual, the ones that have received the stimulus money. And people are asking, hey, is it taxable, right? Is this money taxable? Well, the short answer to that is no, it's not taxable, but it may, like, that's the short answer. That's the answer in general. And I wanted to say this is that, Derek has already said this, but make sure that you consult your CPA or your tax professional in order to find out the best strategy that fits your situation. This is for financial education purposes. So I just definitely wanted to put that disclaimer out there for you. And so with that, so what do we need to do, right? Stimulus, that's not going to be taxable. Here's another question that I've been getting is, hey, I have gotten unemployment. Is that going to be taxable? And I will say this, yes, that is generally taxable. Your unemployment benefits are taxable. So please note that. So just prepare for that, right? And then also, another thing, as far as PPP loans and idle loans, we'll delve a little bit deeper into that. But as far as you as an individual, you want to make sure that you have all your documents. That's going to be super, super important. So if you work for anyone, if you receive money from anyone, right? From any company, any unemployment agency, government agency, with the exception of the stimulus check, you want to make sure that they provide a document. What are those documents? W-2s, 1099s. Those are the two main ones, right? 1099Bs, 1099 divs. Like whenever you receive money, if you've taken out a distribution from your IRA, you want to make sure to take all that info and keep all those, make sure you maintain all those documents so that you can hand them off to someone who's able to prepare your taxes. So that's strategy number one. So it's really a tactic, but it's really a strategy. So I'll just say that. And then the next thing that I want to delve into is as far as taxes. So PPP money forgiven. If you have not filled out for forgiveness, make sure that you do that. There is a simplified form out where you would be required for simplified loans that are under a certain amount. So PPP loans, right? Make sure that you apply for the forgiveness, right? Another thing, and if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. We will delve a little bit more into more detailed info, but I just wanted to give a good overview. Also with idle grants. So some of you may have not qualified for a loan, but they said, hey, here's a grant, the idle grant. Is that taxable? And short answer, no, it is not taxable. It is literally a grant. So just know that that is tax-free money. And also loans. So some people will ask, hey, is the loan taxable? No, the loans aren't taxable. Just know that, because a loan is a loan. It's not income because you got to pay it back. So yes, just overall tax strategy. So make sure that you are grabbing all of your documents. Also, you want to make sure just a plan for the next year, right? Make sure that you're planning, if you're planning on receiving money in your business or on your job, or both, you want to sort of see where it's going to go, right? And I know last year is definitely thrown in some curveballs. So I've seen people whose businesses shot up. I've seen businesses that have, declined. And so, but in both of those cases, you want to make sure that you have the proper documentation.
Nice. And I like that, because the way you broke it down, it really helps you to get organized, right? So you have the income that you're receiving, right? You have any grants that you're getting, and then you have loans. And so when you were saying that, in my head, I was already like, ooh, I'm going to organize the money that I've received based on the category that it is, so that it's easier to see, especially for you. So I've already started that yesterday. So those, I'm in the process of breaking everything down. Like, I organize everything. I put it in a spreadsheet. I put my expenses, my income, my revenue for the year. I try to make it as easy as possible for Coach Janelle, and then that way I know what backup, what documentation I need to provide as well. I mean, that's just the business geek behind with in me. But when you were saying that, I saw for someone who may be taking notes a clear, distinction and pillars of income that you're receiving because it's working income that you're getting a check for services rendered, whatever the case may be there. Your grants for those that are business owners that are or those that may apply for for supporting dollars to help them, and under that taxable income, right, or that receiving income, right, your 1099s, your W-2s, your unemployment, right? So, really breaking those down. And then, if you don't know it all, just put a miscellaneous category. And then you can have that, that tax expert or, in your area be able to then, move where it needs to go. But at least you have it organized and clear so that, you can then get it to the correct person to help you do it. And then once you do it, you already have a foundation. So now you can just repeat the process for next year. So those were really good. And I think, because a lot of people have some of the early round questions because a lot of things in 2020 happened that's very new to the whole tax field with the, bailouts, with, all those different elements. And so I think a lot of people are going to be kind of looking at their taxes with a side eye, like, who is you? Yeah, I said is, who is you? Because it's like a lot of different things that are taking place. So so thanks for the overall overview. Is there anything else? I saw about deadlines. Have the deadlines adjusted any this year?
So the main deadline that's been adjusted has mainly been when the IRS will be open to receive those returns.
Forget
So
about us.
it used to be like January something, but now it's all the way into like February 11th, February 12th. Like they're saying, listen, we're going to take our time because we know things are a little bit different. And we've already had the deadline change from last year from April 15th all the way to July 15th. And so they're like, I mean, I would just say, like, let's, you want to make sure that all your ducks are in a row because they're trying to get theirs in a row. And so the more you have your ducks in a row, the easier it's going to be down the line for you.
Cool. Act like there are no extensions and just prepare accordingly. And then that way, if you run into a hiccup, you got a little bit more time, but don't plan that extra time within your planning, right? Like
True.
they say, when you save your money, like, or you get a new job, don't add that new money into your income. Put that into the savings, because if you were already living right off of a certain amount of income and you get some additional, don't start to factor that in. Just put that to the side for savings, right? Because if you were surviving off of this amount before, then hey, that's extra. Put that to the side and figure out different ways to invest or save or use that money. So same process when it comes to timelines and deadlines.
That's true. And I will say that I haven't seen anything yet. There may be, but right now there's been news after news. And
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's such a not volatile, but it can change. So make sure that I wouldn't take advantage of that. Again, I would just say, okay, let's make sure that you have your ducks in a row so that it can, be good for you in the end. So
And I like that because I think sometimes in the beginning or in the front end of doing your taxes and anything, sometimes it can be you can feel this heavy feeling like, oh my goodness. I know I do. I'd be like, ah, now I got to do my taxes. Now I got to get all this paperwork, and then do I have everything? And it's like, and for me, I do this every year. If you hear me in the comments, I do this every year, and I always say I'm gonna do better, even though I have a structure. And I'm just gonna be an honest moment, transparent. Even though I have my Excel sheet, and I'm like, yo, every month I'm gonna put in my expenses, and every month I'm gonna do this. And then I get to the end of the year, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't done it. I started off good. I got to March, and by the time I got to December, I was like, it's already here. And so the anxiety of having to go back and sift through everything and make sure you're not missing anything. Other than being diligent in that preparation, what other strategies or other tips can you give based off of maybe clients you've worked with in the past about, reducing that anxiety, so to speak, some, and not really being in a space where we have to call on a Coach Janelle to clean up, our situations because, we didn't do what we were supposed to do in the beginning.
Mm. Yeah.
Put you on the spot on that one. I didn't tell you about that question.
Oh, yeah. No, this is really good, right? So I would sort of compare it to like exercising, right?
Mhm,
Like, for instance, let's just take something simple like this week, right? 7 days in a week. And let's just say that I needed to do just something simple, 20 push-ups a day, right? For 7 days a week. Yeah, 7 days, it's great, right? It seems really easy. Versus what if I missed all 6 days and on the seventh day, I'm like, oh no, I missed all these days. Now I got to do 140 push-ups. Well, that's going to be impossible. Basically, I'm gonna let you got it like that. But
right.
for the most part, that's the way how we treat other things that we need to have maintenance and need to have under control.
Mm,
Is that you're right. We start off with the great intentions. January, we're like, okay, we're gonna get all of this together, right? We get it all together, and you're like, it's great. You got the platform there, it's awesome, but there really isn't accountability. And then it comes to the end of the year, and you're like, ooh, yeah, I forgot about that part. But here's the thing that I tell people is that if you're at a place in your business where you are making like okay money, the thing is it's okay to leverage someone else to take over some of those things that could be tedious and not really helping you generate revenue.
mhm,
And so if they're not really helping you generate revenue, then really you probably want to delegate that task to somebody who knows what they're doing. And so that's one of the strategies that I would say is that if you don't have time, like if you're making that type of money in your business and it's different for everybody, is that you probably want to have someone that can actually work on those things for you. And so that's one of the strategies.
mhm.
A couple of other things that I've seen, and if you guys want to hear about some of the tax deductions that you're able to have, and again, I'm going to put this in here. You have to have a business, right? You can't just write these things off for your personal. It has to be for a necessary and they're ordinary in your line of business. And so I'm going to go ahead and drop those. If you guys are interested, can you go ahead and drop a 1 in the comments so I know that somebody would like to hear some tax deductions, some tax strategies that can help them in their business.
I dropped my one.
You drop your
I dropped my one. I mean,
one in here. Anyone else? And if there's something else, hey, we'll go somewhere else. But listen, I don't know about y'all, but if you want to hear about some of the tax deductions, some of the strategies that you can use in order to learn some of the practices of the wealth, because here's the thing, if you don't have your things organized or in a way where it's easy, what happens is that there's thousands upon thousands of dollars. Listen, I have seen this like with my own eyes, and you can tell I just did like that.
right.
I've seen where people weren't organized, they didn't have their numbers together, and then next thing you know, they just missed. And I'm talking about like 6-figure mess ups because their numbers, their documents, their receipts, nothing was in order.
Mm.
And so just bringing this up, there's going to be a 50% rise in IRS audits. Like it's an increase. And so with that increase, I mean, why are they increasing, right? Because they know people aren't doing right. And so people aren't doing right. They're like, okay, we've got to come down. We've got to make sure, enforce some of those things that actually need to happen. So if you are in business or if you're interested in how to save money, here are some of the things, right? So Derek got his one in there. So some of the things that you want to make sure to have as a strategy or as a tactic is, one, I would say, is that if you travel, meaning if you drive your car for your business to meet clients, to go to the store and buy something for your business, then, and if you're not tracking your mileage, that is one of the biggest deductions that I've seen that people underutilize is mileage.
Mm.
And here's the thing. It's not that you have to take a paper and pen mileage log and do that, right? We have
Right.
apps, we have track your mileage, we have, different things that can track your miles so that, and it's easy. Like you can swipe left, swipe right. Is this for business? Is this for personal? And it's that easy. So you want to make sure to track your mileage. That's going to be one of the main things, right? So with tracking your mileage, right, you'll be able to know the difference between a business trip and a personal trip.
Mm.
And so with that, you'll be able to deduct those mileage. And it's pretty nice. I mean, it's been like 57%, 58%. It's been like 58% per mile, right? So if you
Mhm.
traveled way across the states in your car, right, to go to a conference, guess what? You're able to deduct some of those things, right? And so that's one thing that I've seen underutilized. The other thing is going to be home office deduction, right? Here was a lot of questions that I've seen, right? That
Right.
I've seen are regular W-2 people that said, hey, am I able to write off some of these things? And I'm like, ooh, like, like we used to have the employee deduction, like the 2% for miscellaneous deduction, job expenses, but
Mhm.
that has been taken away. And so the way to get a tax deduction is by having a business. And if you dedicate a certain square footage of your home to operating your business, then you would be able to use that portion,
Mhm.
of your mortgage or your rent, your utilities, in order to have a deduction for your home office.
I
And
like
it-
that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And-
I like that. And because for me, I know, and we talked about it, like what I had to do when I had my apartment, and even now, when I moved back home, and I had to section off a certain area for my home office, is knowing the square footage of your home,
Mhm.
and get that good old tape measure out if you need to, and
Yep.
measure and get the square footage of your space, so that way you can subtract it and have a great or a good, estimated number of what that square footage looks like. And then Coach Janelle, or whoever your tax preparer is, can do the crunch the numbers for you, because they have the square footage and things of that nature. But what I think I heard you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that in order to do that, you got to have a business. So if you are working from home as a full-time employee for someone else, this does not apply to you.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't. I mean, the main thing that I would do is possibly ask for some type of technology stipend
Hmm.
from your employer or something like that, to see if they can help with some of the expenses. And I know, during this time they've allowed people to take their offices home and different things like that, but this is strictly for people who are in business and they work from home. And here's the thing, now let me make sure to clarify this.
Uh-huh.
I being on Clubhouse,
Listen,
woo,
you gotta check the references, you gotta check the source.
because I think I heard someone, they were like, you can write half of your house down. I was like, oh, like, yeah, you can just, yeah,
I'm Imma put that back up. 50% increase in IRS audits. Why? Because people giving you bad information on Clubhouse,
bad information.
and then the IRS gonna come knock at your door and like, "Okay, show me this 50% of this house." If you were right.
And you're just like, yeah, I guess they're like, wait, the kids' room is here. So it has to be exclusive.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I know some people are like, oh, I write off my kitchen. I'm like, do you only use it for business? They're like, no, I cook personal meals. No, you got to only use it for business. And so I know we use this room only for business because kids don't play in here, anything like that. And I guess the IRS, I guess they can be peeping like,
Right, right.
what else
Oh,
do you have? 2 cars. Oh, well, I don't, I mean, that, my
yeah.
husband's a musician. I mean, hey, what do you say? So, but yeah, but you want to make sure. So that is something that's underutilized as well too.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, because like even the space that I'm sitting at right now, all of this over here is all my business stuff. My stand-up desk, my desktop, my books, this table on, like, is really the thing that separates the rest of the living room area from the designated area for my business. So that's why I say pull out that tape measure, so that if it is in the living room, I don't count the whole entire living room because that would be false, right? But I also use the living room for a studio. So for teaching Zumba, but I know I can't do the entire living room as that, because majority of the time we're in here watching TV and it's a regular living room.
Mm.
So I just to be safe, because I ain't trying to be audited by the IRS, I just measure my dedicated business space where I do only business stuff when I'm in this area, and when I walk away from this area, that's it. That's all, folks.
That's good. That's good. And another good thing is to definitely take a picture as well too
Mm,
of that designated area, just in case if they are asking for any information with that as well too. And then just think about some of the other uh, things that you can write off for business. And so whatever expenses that it takes for you to run your business. I mean, you've seen advertising and marketing for your business, right?
mhm,
Different subscriptions for your account. Listen, if you have a cell phone and you use your cell, now if you use it for business and you can sort of guesstimate the percentages, right? I've seen 50-50, then you may be able to write a certain percentage for your cell phone. If you get a whole separate line that's dedicated towards business, well, you're able to write that off as well.
mhm.
So I've seen that as well too. And different things. It just pertains to the industry, right? Like,
Right.
you know, uh, like I know I do use a lot of video equipment for my business as well too, but it just depends on what industry you're in if you can write that off. So I've
Mhm.
seen, like for I won't delve into the
Nitty gritty of it.
I would, because walking that fine line, unless you guys have any questions about that, then I'll just sort of, digress. I've heard of outfits. That's one thing. Clothes, right?
Mhm.
Um, Typically, like right now, I'm not able to write this off. Or if I have a nice dinner to go to and I need to put on buy a nice dress or something, I'm not because if I can wear it out in public like it's a normal dress, then I'm not able to deduct it because it's just like ordinary clothes. But
Mm.
if it was like a costume, right? If it's some type of costume or a clown costume or something, right? Then I am able to write it off and it's for ordinary and necessary expenses. So if I'm an actress or something like that, then I'm able to consider some different things, not just, normal clothes, but if you had to get some type of wardrobe or some type of garment that's not regular, like if you had to get a medieval costume or something like that, then that's something that you would be able to write off. And so I just want to walk a little bit of the
Right.
edge, but not but not go all the way deep into it, right?
Yeah.
Beauty industry, that's different as well too. Like you know a little bit of fine lines between there because people wear makeup every day, but
Yeah.
if
But it's
you're
not specific to your right. Like if the makeup that you're wearing isn't and I guess that's the great question to ask, right? Like, is what I'm purchasing, right? Does it have, dual use, right?
Mm.
Right? So if I buy this outfit, am I only going to wear it for work and business, or can I switch up the suit jacket, throw on a t-shirt under it, and go out, and eat with friends on a casual day?
Mm.
And so I think it's, really dedicating, like you said, what's just like the office space scenario. What is just the dedicated use for your business? Because again, right now, like you said, with the IRS cracking down and doing more audits, it's good, because I remember I used to always make notes on every receipt when I used to go out to eat with clients and things of that nature. So I would know, and I would have my receipts separated. My alcoholic beverages, nope, my food, and not. So I would have those things separated. So even now, because we can forget over time. And so, when you were saying that, Coach Janelle, one thing that was showing in my head was really to, make the distinction on why you bought it, what
Mm.
was used and the purpose for. Because
Mm.
if the IRS comes and says, hey, well, why did you buy this? If you get selected to be audited and they start to ask you questions about specific things, I think what happens is people don't expect to be audited. because it's, you know, because either they never been audited before, or it's just so many people out there and they're like, but this is a different time that we're living in. And so when you're thinking about, you know, because even for me this year, I won't be able to write off as much mileage as I used to because ain't nobody been traveling. So like, so for people just to be like, you know, I'm just gonna carry my mileage over from 2019 over to 2020, pump your brakes, because we all had to pump our brakes because we weren't driving nowhere.
Yep.
So be very careful in really shifting your mindset in what you traditionally would write off versus what the IRS is probably looking at differently this year in 2021 as
Mm,
they go over and through people's taxes for 2020. Because from February, pretty much, like I did traveling in January and February, so I can write that off. I didn't
mm.
right before, you know, the lockdown, but March to now, you know, and because a lot of the businesses world is still, you know, for those, there are some exceptions for some folks that have been traveling. You'll have the receipts and you'll have the stuff to back that up. But for the majority of folks, especially if you're not a business owner, right? If you're just a, you know, a full-time person writing stuff off,
True.
you just gotta, you know, just think about it. That's what just showed up for me. It's like, you know, you have to go in it with a different mindset, because the IRS representatives are going to be looking at it from a different mindset, and they're looking at it from a pandemic mindset. And so you're going to be, you know, just do your due diligence and prepare yourself to have your backup. And it may feel like a lot of work. It may be a lot of work, but but I mean, Coach, never seriously, because like how much of this in the forefront of it is going to save you so much time than being audited.
That's real. I mean, and one of the things to sort of streamline things, right? Because I know it's like, oh my goodness, do I just take all my receipts and put them in an envelope? Listen, I don't like, if you come to me, first of all, I'm virtual CFO, virtual tax. So if you come to me with some receipts, like, hey, I got to give you this back, or nope,
No bags of receipts here.
bag of receipts here, right? So the thing is to be a little more organized. Let's talk about some accounting softwares, some bookkeeping softwares. Two of them that I'm going to mention. One is QuickBooks Online, and then one is called Wave. Wave is free.
Mm,
I've seen people use it. So solopreneurs or those that are starting out want to get used to a system and get acquainted with a system, that is a free resource, right? It's called Wave Accounting. And so it's a very simple thing. Also, as your business advances, I use QuickBooks Online.
mhm.
One of the benefits of QuickBooks Online is the fact that it can track your mileage as you are driving. Another thing it can do is that you can snap a receipt, write the description, the purpose, right? And send it. And basically it can log the receipts for you. So you're not having to save your receipts in a bag somewhere,
Mhm.
and just be more organized. You can just take a picture.
True, very true. And I think we may have lost Coach Janelle, so she'll click the link to come back in. There she goes. Oh yeah.
Oh
We lost
yeah.
her for a minute, but you said, but really taking that picture,
Mhm.
right, and it going right into the app within QuickBooks, so that everything is stored for you right there in real time.
Exactly. So it's going to be stored for you right there in real time. And so as you take a picture of the receipt, I mean, it's great because you have the documentation right there. And yes, if you want to go ahead and file the receipt, but that's just things in the forefront. Like as you're in the moment, just do it, right? As
Mhm.
you're in the moment or at the end of the day, only thing you got to do for your mileage is swipe left if it's business and right if it's personal. And so it does the tracking for you. You don't have to put the to and from and all of that. So that's one of the things that can really help you, is a great accounting software that can really help you in those moments. And so with the receipts. And so it doesn't have to be super laborious, right? It doesn't have to be super laborious, but where you have to pull out a spreadsheet and different things like that. But if it's something simple where you can just track it. And one thing too that saves a lot of people, believe it or not, is having a business account that is separate from the personal account. No commingling, right? You're not trying to run your business all the way out of your, personal account unless you're starting off. Well, once you see that you're making money, you're like, oh, snaps. Let me get my LLC, okay? Let me go ahead and get my EIN and let me get a separate business bank account. Or you can get a DBA business bank account, an account that is dedicated for your business transactions. So guess what? If you have to go and file your taxes and you're like, these are all of my business income and expenses, and it's all on these accounts, rather than having to decipher through your personal account which Walmart receipts, I see that a lot, which Walmart receipts are personal or business, and they're like, I don't know, which Amazon receipts were business and personal, I don't know, you've got all that, right? So
Yeah.
you want to make sure that if anything, like this will help your accountant as well too, is that if you can get like a separate account to where you're not commingling, where you're not commingling, and you can clearly distinguish when you've taken some profits out,
Mhm.
or when you put money in, it's easier. Like, please don't have the nail salon on a business bank account. Like, just don't,
Just
just don't. Please.
personal day. No, no, that's your personal money, right?
Right, right, right. I mean, if you have to get a different bank so you don't have the cars that look the same, then let's do that, So,
No, I love that. I love that because I think it's, it's preparation,
yeah.
right? We're all adults, and we make time for the things we want to make time for. So I think it's definitely important to, um, like you said earlier with the analogy of setting aside time to work out, setting aside time to cook dinner. Just set aside that time. Maybe it's a quick 15 minutes, maybe it's 30 minutes. I think sometimes we can get in our head about how long something takes,
Mhm.
and therefore we talk ourselves out of doing it because we're like, oh, that's going to take forever, and immediately we get all the feelings that come with doing something that takes forever. But is it really going to take forever? Like, let's like, if everybody's listening, let's just really have an honest conversation. Is it really going to take forever? No. It's
Right.
going to take, if you wait to the end, it's probably going to take some hours,
Yeah.
right? But if
Yeah.
you do it in the moment of it, maybe 10 minutes, if that, maybe 5 minutes, right? It really won't take as much time. So if you start to put those practices in place now, and now my strategy hat is coming on as a business owner, right? And time yourself, right? Literally, like when you do it, like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. When you finish, oh, 9:10. Now you start to reinforce
Mm,
the fact that it does not take forever, but
mm,
that it actually only took me 10 minutes,
that's good.
you know?
That's good.
And you could use that with folding clothes, with washing dishes. Oh, it's gonna take me forever to wash all these dishes. No, it took you all of 30 minutes. Throw on your playlist, put some music on, put something on TV, wash the dishes real quick, and call it a day, right? So that's one of those things that I've learned from in my mindset work is just to really get very specific in the words that you say,
Mm,
because it also translates into feelings. And so if you're saying that it's going to take you all day to do something, then you're going to be like, you know what, I ain't doing that today. I'm going to sit down, watch some TV, and keep it moving. But if
mm,
you're like, you know what, it's only going to take me an average of 30 minutes to do XYZ, then it's more manageable. And then the pressure and the
mm,
stress of feeling like it's going to be something so, like you said, laborious, and something that's just so heavy, it's
mhm.
not. And then you can move on without your day and do the next thing. So you can use that in business and personal, whatever. But I
Mm,
just really wanted to drop that, that personal thing that I do. And I have to remind myself, because I can get caught up in the story that's going to take forever, when it's really only going to take me 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or something of that nature. So
mm.
just wanted to share that piece.
Wow. I was doing just great, like, yeah, accounting, you want to make sure. And then you talking about folding clothes, and I was,
Right.
oh, yeah.
Right. April said yes. Darian said, you are speaking, sir. April said good stuff. She said this is good information. Darian, he said this is very informative. Dr. E said that, very powerful facts and information. So they're definitely enjoying the tips provided by Coach Janelle. And so thank you for tuning in. And I know there are some people that may not that may be on here that may not necessarily be a business owner. So is there anything that for them from a tax perspective that they could be looking at or thinking about from, a tax strategies perspective?
Right. Yeah, that is really a good question. And some of the main things that you'll see as far as deductions for non business owner what are some things to look at, right? Some of the main things has to do with children, right?
Hmm.
Child care, making sure to take advantage of a couple of things because this is great that I have experience in corporates
Hmm.
and also in business owning. And so I would say that in the corporate realm, one of the things that can really help you is if you work corporate, right? You might have benefits and different things like that. Well, some of the benefits that really been helpful to me is having an FSA, like signing up for the FSA account. What is FSA, right? It's basically healthcare's, savings, right? It's a healthcare savings. So typically how this would work is that, you know, I would say, listen, I plan on spending about $2,000 on healthcare, getting my glasses, spending money on co-pays, paying for my kids' visits and different things like that, buying prescription meds, right? Different things like that. I'm able to like have that money deducted and for it to reduce my taxable income.
Hmm.
That is a strategy that I've seen a lot of employees use because at first I didn't know about it. Listen, have a
Hmm.
degree in I mean, you hear about this thing, but once you really start turning it on yourself, you're like, okay, this is how it can really help me. I've
Hmm.
always been focused on helping the organizations, but I'm thinking like, okay, what can I do to help my situation? And so what happens is let's say for instance, and this is just for number's sake, is that if you're at a $50,000 salary, right? And then if you have those $2,000 that's dedicated towards healthcare expenses, well, guess what? You're not going to be taxed on the 50,000, you'll be taxed on the 48,000.
Uh,
So it drops your taxable income. And back then, pre-tax and Jobs Act, all of that in 2017, that was really a big factor
hmm.
because there were different levels on which income bracket you were going to be in. And
Wow. Yeah.
so having that little bit of change puts you in a lower income bracket. And
Mm.
so you can do that with that. Another thing is going to be putting money into your IRA. If you have an IRA account, right, you can put up to, I think it's what, $19,000.
Mhm.
So again, if you put $19,000, if you have a high six-figure paying job, you're putting $19,000 in, and your company's matching, let's say 3%, 15%. That's a great thing. And again, it does the same thing because what's going to happen is let's just say that I put in $10,000 into my IRA account. Well,
Mm.
if I'm at a if I'm and I know 50,000, I know, but I'm just
Right.
saying, right?
Just
50.
for number purposes. For number purposes.
Right, right. Just for, but $50,000 and I put 10,000, towards the IRA. Well, I'm only going to get taxed at 40,000 because I put this money over here in the IRA. That won't get taxed until later, until after I'm 65 or whenever. And so
Right.
that's saving up for retirement. So those are some of the things that you can really look at as far as reducing your taxable income or your AGI. Of course, college, going to college, having kids, childcare. Those are some of the things that you're able to look for as far as credits and deductions and different things like that. And so those are the two main strategies that I've seen. I've also seen HSA. It's the same concept as the FSA, but those are two of the things that I've seen that have definitely reduced
Mhm.
taxable income for a lot of individuals.
And that's awesome. And April says, do you have an app that you recommend for personal budgeting that you think is good? I know I just signed up, and it's not necessarily for personal budgeting, but it just helps me track my spending habits. And so I signed up for Truebill
True bill.
not too long ago, and it's really helped me to see like my spending habits. And I'm like, ooh, Amazon's on here a lot.
Is
Let
that
me slow down.
is that the bill that tells you when a subscription is coming up?
Yes, it also tells you what subscriptions you have so that you can start shutting down subscriptions. Like I went through like literally in December, I when I signed up for Truebill, because it tracks everything based off your bank account, so it'll automatically pull the information in there, and then you can go through and categorize what it doesn't translate
Mm,
over. And what I saw was I did have subscriptions that I forgot I had, and so I went through and canceled all these subscriptions before they renew, which saved me almost like $100, because $10 here, $15 here, it adds up. And a lot of times we don't really pay attention to it because we're swiping. Oh, $10 here,
yeah.
but $10 purchases is $100 a month. And then you start adding that bad boy up, and you start looking like, oh my goodness. So Truebill is really good, April, just to help track your spending habits, because what it'll do a month to month comparison, and also it does a week to week comparison. So it'll say, hey, you spent this much compared this week compared to last week, and it'll show you kind of where, like, you can break it down based off of food. So that's
Mm,
a good way to track your personal. Tanya said, me too, just signed up for Truebill. Yeah, it's awesome. And it's an app too, so you can do it on your phone. I think it has a desktop version as well, and so that's helped me a lot. And then also what I did is I created my own kind of budget in just Excel. And so what I did was, and if you April, if you email me, I can send you a template of the budget that I have. And it's just an Excel sheet, because I did it for a friend who wanted to do a little bit better with their expenses, and I'm looking for Truebill just to make sure. I think it's TRU,
yep.
no E,
ILL.
BILL.
Mhm.
So drop the E, but Truebill. And then, but April, if you just send me a DM, just a message, I'll send you a link to access the budget sheet. But I created one for one of my friends who wanted to, and this already has the calculations in there. And so all you have to do is and it has it by month. And so it has like your expenses, and then it has your income down here, and whatever. And then it has like a percent for savings. So like if you want to you can change the percentage to see how much money you want to put to savings. But it just helped me to see exactly what money I was bringing in
Wow.
and what money was going out. So I don't create this story of like, oh my goodness, I don't know where my money is going, I'm so under my budget. And then I'm like, oh, I'm only $50 off. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's the whole reality thing, like from the time to really see how your money is being used and where it's going can really help you shift the narrative. Be like, oh, I only need to save this amount of money, or I only need to, you know, get this one more client, and then it'll set me here. And so Coach Janelle has really taught me a good deal about money mindset, and really just organizing and structuring
Mm,
so I can see what my money is doing, so then I know how to respond accordingly to the actions that I need to take to shift it where I need to shift it. So just
mm.
wanted to share those few things with you all.
Ooh, as you're saying that, I
Uh-huh.
remember when we went through those exercises.
Yes.
I think what happens is that we tell ourselves a certain story
Hmm.
that isn't consistent or congruent with what's actually happening.
Exactly.
So, in a lot of cases is where, oh my goodness, like I'm doing so horrible with this money. You're not in the situation definitely can't be that bad. Yes, I've seen people that were scared to look at their credit report, and then they look at it and they're like, okay,
Oh, that's not
yeah,
that bad.
yeah,
Right.
like, okay, it ain't that okay. Yes, there's some things on there, but they feel like they can actually conquer that, perceived mountain that they see. And so they see that. And so I would definitely say that a couple of things that has helped in some cases, and I'm all for the app. Like, definitely get the app. If you're someone who is wanting to see it right in front of you, a good thing is to write out all of your bills that's due since the beginning of the month. So, like, start off with the first of the month, what bills are due,
Mhm.
and then you go down to the end of the month. Reason why I say to do that is because some people get paid, like, and I know the monthly budgets, right? The monthly budgets are like, oh my goodness, this is so great. Here are your expenses, here's your income. Well, that's great if you only get paid one time a month. But what if you get paid weekly? What if you get paid bi-weekly? Looking
Yeah.
at the list of bills, you'll be able to see which bills are going to be paid with the first paycheck and which bills are going to be paid with the second paycheck. And
Hmm.
so you're not sitting there thinking, okay, well, what do I need to do? And I remember, like, And I can say that I've definitely have basically I definitely have, come through some struggles financially, right? And
Yeah.
those things was, yeah, like tracking everything. And I would say that when I was on unemployment, like many years ago, I was able to allocate some funds for my car and for different expenses. I had to be like really good with that. And so
Mhm.
it'll help you recognize that if you have a big amount due on the second, rather than going negative in your account, you're like, well, if I put some money aside
Mhm.
for my car payment, let's just say if I wanted to pay half of my car payment and then pay the other half, meet it with the other account, then I can do that.
Mm.
Versus just saying, oh, this big amount is due or my rent is due and my paycheck doesn't cover that amount. Well, let's try to see what we can do as far as how much you get paid weekly. I don't get paid enough. Well, let's look at your budget. Let's see what we can look to either decrease, because there's two types of strategies. You're either on a financial defense or you're on the financial offense. And so
Mhm.
financial defense, you're looking at what to save, right? What to protect. So you're trying to do away with expenses. You're trying to reduce expenses so that you can have more. But if you're taking the financial offensive strategy, you're looking at ways to increase your income. So you're looking at negotiating on your job. You're looking at getting a side hustle in order to bring in extra income, getting a second job. Ooh, oh man, that's tough.
Right.
Tough.
Right.
If it's a second job where it's doable for you, then hey, do what you got to do, right? But
Yeah.
those are some of the strategies that you can use.
And I like what you said, because when you said that, it really reminded me of, and I don't want to downplay it per se, but it's really like when you look at your finances, it's really like a game, right? Like you said, you have the defense, which is about eliminating expenses and things of that nature, but then you have the offense, which is about increasing your income, right? Bring it in. Like there's two ways you could do it: bring in more income, reduce your expenses, the unnecessary things. But then also, it's almost like when you think about playing checkers, or those of us who've played chess before, or any kind of game where it takes strategy to think about the next move. And that's really what it is. Like, even when you know the lay of the land, when you know, okay, I get paid weekly, or I get paid bi-weekly, or I get paid monthly, then you when you know the lay of the land, you know what strategy to implement to best serve the situation that you're in. So when you were saying that, that's what was showing up even for myself. It's just really repositioning how I look at finances, right? A part of the strategies that we're talking about is also mindset, right? The mindset is a big part of how we approach taxes, how we approach, loans, how we approach anything that it comes to dealing with our money. And so if you know the lay of the land, if you know what game you're playing, right? If you know what you need, if you know what team member you need to have, if you know what you need to work on, then and all those things are what shows up in a team, right? When you're going into conditioning, when you know who your starting lineup is, when you know who's on the bench and what their experiences are and what talents they have, the same thing is as in your finances, so to speak, right? When you know what you need, when you know, okay, I need to save some money here, or I need to do this, then you can start to structure a game plan, so to speak, to tackle, whatever that is. So that's what showed up for me when you were saying that. And so I was like, I wanted to share it because I got excited, because then it makes it it makes it fun, so to speak, to say, you know what, I'm not coming this with from a defeated mindset of like, oh, let me go log into this account, let me check my bank account, what bills due today. Now it comes up like, okay, cool. All right, I got a strategy in place. Okay, so let me see how I'm gonna tackle this. And then it becomes more of a you take ownership and control of the situation, as opposed to it taking ownership over you when you don't know, right?
That's so good. Yeah, that is so good. Oh my goodness. Like,
That's it. I learned from you. Like my mindset from like money mindset has shifted, just in our conversations and time that we spent together. Cause it's like, money serves you. You don't serve it. So how do you restructure your mind to approach it in a different way? And
mm,
once you get to that point, it's like it becomes less of a burden and more of a benefit. And
mm.
like, oh, what can I do?
So here's the thing that really change my mind and my life with how do I look at money? Because what I've heard growing up, and you probably heard of this, of course, people with money, they're greedy or they're money hungry. I've heard all of that. And one of the things that I noticed was when I work with my mom in cleaning business buildings. So we clean big office buildings. And I remember that, she would, I would go with her. She would make me clean. I mean, she was like pure 100. Like, it don't matter how many times I cleaned up the office. She's like, listen, you need to clean it again. But I remember she would send me up to like the very top floor, the office of the CEO. And it was like, whoa, like, you can tell he had it. It was great. He had it made. He had the golfing station. He had the animal carpet. He had the pictures with sports athletes, celebrities. And I remember like working like 6 days. Listen, I was working 6 days and my mom did not care. He was never there. But my mom didn't care. She'd be like, okay, clean it up, dust, do that, right? And I remember like sitting in his office like, man, he got a lot of things going on. And I really thought I thought to myself, like, this, like, I'm working harder, like physically, manually, working harder than a person who's paying me to clean this office. Like, what is going on here?
He's not even there.
He ain't even there. Like, I've seen it a handful of times. Real nice guy, and I was like, what was it? Like, what is it that set him apart? What was it that made him, of course, he worked hard. I'm sure he did, but he wasn't working hard then. And the people that I've seen that are making, multiple millions, I mean, what they found is that they learned how to get money to serve them. It wasn't just working hard. And one of the things that, and you've probably seen this, I've seen this, is that we have businesses and people that are just working. It comes to a point to where working doesn't work anymore. There's so many hours you can work in a day. If you work 24 hours, like, there's so many hours, 15 hours per day. And it gets to a point to where it's not productive for you to do. Like, it gets to a point to where that does not happen. And I understand that. Here's one thing that I've heard is like, hard work brings lots of money. And I've heard the opposite, and it challenged my thinking. I may be challenging your thinking right now, but I will say this, that I know people, I mean, they're doing good. And I will say that there's someone who plays golf most days out of the week. Like, this person doesn't want me calling them. This time, I'm like, what you got? Are you working? He's like, no, I'm playing golf. I'm like, oh, okay, gotcha. So I'll call you early in the morning or, after, if I have a question. But here's the thing, like, you have to get to a place to where, because the Bible says, you cannot serve God and you can't serve mammon. And people, like, it's been crazy because when I was there, I used to think people had money. I'm like, okay, they're serving money because they have lots of it. That's not the case. And in some cases, they learn how to get the money to serve them.
Yeah.
And I've heard this, is that money makes a great servant, but a horrible master. Once you flip-flop that and you put money as your master, there is nothing that you can do. Like, we should, first of all, we shouldn't have money as a master. We shouldn't have nobody as a master. But once we get into a place where we become the master of our money, then things change.
Yeah.
You'll be able to make moves. You'll be able to make those strategies. But how does that work? That works with our mindset, getting your mindset in order to know that, listen, the money doesn't have control over me. I have control over this money. And just to let everybody know, you have the power to change your situation, like, no matter what, because there's only two strategies. Listen, just to be real, I was at a place to where the defensive strategy was not working for me anymore. I've listen, I cut off every single extra thing that you can do, I mean, but besides, living
right.
right. And not do, like, it was crazy. And we had a family. And I really just sat there and listened. This, like, we were so low financially to where it was like, Lord, like, I need a strategy. I need help. And literally, like, I flipped on a camera and said, I have to do something.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if you guys have ever been in that place to where you're like, I like something needs to change.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, like, those, who seek, they will find. And so you start your journey to really saying, okay, something has to change, but you have to be open to change,
Yeah.
because you're not going to change your destination overnight. You're not going to go to sleep and say, oh my goodness, I have this wonderful revelation that, money should be serving us. We shouldn't be serving money. Okay, great. I'm going to go to
Right.
sleep. Like I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be in a different position. Well, no,
Right.
the destination doesn't change overnight, but the direction can change.
Yeah.
And so you have to deal with the resistance of turning a different direction so that your destination can be at a better position versus you going the same way and in your comfort zone and you're used to it. So it feels good. It seems like you're in flow, but you're really not in flow because you don't have the financial results that you have in your life. So something has to change, right? Mindset has to change. And after your mindset's change, then you have to look at changing your modality, right? Your MO. After your modality changes, then your money starts to change. I mean, I wish I could say, listen, you can change your money overnight or after night, but it's a process. It really is a process of mindset and modality. And then the next thing is you'll see your bank account grow. You'll see your savings account grow. And here's one concept. So if you guys want to know a real wealth strategy that is used, like it's really used,
Give it to us.
give it to us, right? I'm gonna tell you this first. As Jim Rohn says, this is what's easy to do is easy not to do.
Ooh, there you go.
Because it's so simple that we try to make it complicated. But the very first thing I will say that it's a principle. You guys have probably read this and all of this thing, but this will challenge your thinking if you're not used to this. But here it is, right? In order to really get into a place to where you are going into the direction of financial freedom is paying yourself first.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that sounds backwards, right? Pay yourself first. Man, like I can't tell you how many people are like, my bills are due. I don't have any money left over. I'm like, you're gonna have to start paying yourself something first.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's $5, I don't care if it's $10 or something per paycheck. You can do $1. You can start off with $1. If you said you're always in it, you can still start off with $1. And here's the thing, I'm gonna go a little bit to the left, right? Not the left, but
too far, just a little step.
It's a little different, right? For those who are like, hey, I got to pay off debt first, I got to do that. But are you accumulating wealth? Like you have to start accumulating wealth. You have to start paying yourself first. I've seen this in people's lives that have changed. They've paid themselves first. They've had a financial freedom account. Yes, they were in debt. Yes, that's more of a reason. Listen, if you're in debt, if you're in financial, that's more of a reason why you need to pay yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds backwards because guess what? Everybody wants your money. Debt collectors want your money. Your bills want your money. But I can like,
if you want your money,
do you want your money? Like, are you worth setting yourself up? Are you worth that? And here's something, if you guys want to write down, is you want to make sure to give every dollar an assignment.
I love that.
Where did the money go, right? Where did it go? It went everywhere, right? I got bills. I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, did you give every dollar an assignment? And if you start assigning your dollars in order to accumulate wealth, then it's going to change. Like it's going to change. And I wish I had a glass jar, but there's a glass jar full of like big rocks and small stones and medium stones. But if you fill up your jar up with big stones, you can slide in the smaller stones and the medium stones and different things like that. But if I do it opposite, if I put all the small stones in there, then there's no place for me to put the big rocks
Mm.
that really matter in your life. So the thing is I know it's so simple that I bet some people won't do it because it's so simple. Like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
I
Like,
can do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like people want the end before they start the beginning, right? And in order to get to the end, you have to start walking now. You have to start crawling. It's like the small steps. It's like a child
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
walking for the first time. They don't just come out the womb running, right? And jumping
Right.
hurdles and running to the Olympics. No, they crawl, they try to get their balance and stuff first, and then they stand up and they continue to fall. But it's the habit. It's forming the habit, the repetition, so that you have the memory, right? Not only the muscle memory, but the mindset memory that comes along with doing stuff. So, like, I love that you said give every dollar an assignment. So, like, even for myself, so for instance, for me, I might say, you know what, um, this $50 is going to XYZ, right? This $300 is going into my retirement for my vacation house or whatever the case is. So do you mean like that? Like give it a specific word assignment for what this money is going to do, whether in my future or my present?
Yes. So a lot of people like to save up for the rainy day fund, right?
Okay.
Some bad happens. I got some money, but some of y'all need to save up money for a sunny day fund,
Ah,
like
I like
something
that.
good.
My
Like,
sunny day.
yeah, for a sunny day. I mean, let's just be real. We're like, okay, let's save money for a rainy day. And I know that was sort of different from what I meant about paying yourself first. But what I would do is set up an account where it's called a financial freedom account where you can accumulate money, right? And with that money, you put as much as you need in there, but let there be a minimum amount. And
Mm,
it can grow. And that's not going to be a rainy day fund. Like
right.
that won't be part of your sunny day fund. That's going to be part of I'm going to put this money over here. You may not even know the purpose, but you're going to know the purpose. The purpose is going to be to accumulate some type of wealth, but you don't know if that's going to come in a form of maybe personal development. You don't know if that's going to come in a form of buying stocks. So you
Mm,
have to really look into the first thing to invest in first is really your mindset.
yes.
And so that's going to be the number one thing, because the thing is what I've seen is people try to bypass the mindset.
Hmm.
They're just like, okay, I don't have the mindset, but show me the quickest way to get some money. And I've seen this. Listen, I'm gonna say, yeah.
Listen, and it doesn't, and because, like, real talk, 100% transparent. I've spent probably over the course of, like, since 2018, I've probably spent about anywhere between 70 and probably $80,000 in personal development, self-development, coaching, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Partly because I couldn't do it on my own.
Yep.
And I was trying to do a lot of things on my own. And this came in the form of a lot of different things that I needed. I had a speaking coach, Andy, that's where I met you.
Yep.
I had a mindset coach that I did some things because there's certain things you can't do by yourself. And I think a lot of people are on a hamster wheel because they're still trying to do everything by themselves. And they're on the hamster wheel holding everything, and things are falling to the left and to the right. And so I like when you said, give your money an assignment. And so one of those accounts, and even when you were talking about it, I got a picture of that jar, and that
Right.
account could represent all the things that you want to do under that sunny day fund. Travel to Venice,
Mm.
buy a new toy, right? And so that account can go for any of those things that really serves your sunny day fund. And the same thing with your personal development fund. Maybe it's investing in you fund, right? And all the things that you wanted to do. You wanted to take a coaching course. You wanted to go back to school, right? You could put money to serve anything that serves that particular assignment in your life, right? Whatever that may be, but anything that's about education and personal development. So that just helped me because I saw it differently than typically how I would put different accounts inside and just say, oh, this is just a savings account. But I didn't assign it to anything. And so if it's just a savings account, that means I can pull it out for anything, an expense, something over here when I get nervous, and therefore it has no purpose because I didn't give it one. That was
And
listen. I'll come free. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting my life too. Like I just pulled my computer and everything. But yeah, no, I love that. I love that. I love that. That's good right there.
And I would definitely say this as well too. To really like the sunny day fund, and a lot of times you want to really put a why behind it. So that just reminds me that
Hmm.
for the sunny day fund, you want to put a why behind it. The why behind, if it's a Disney World trip for your kids, right? If it's because here's the thing, like you can get money back. I mean, you've seen people go bankrupt, they were able to, overcome that. You can get money back. The one thing that you don't get back is time.
Mm. Say that
So
again.
really with that money, you're buying back your time with your family, your time. Like, listen, like it's worth it. And here's the thing, you don't want to make money the object of your decision making, right? And I think I was telling my husband this, and now this is abundance mindset. So this is the reason why it's really important to invest in these courses, because you understand that money is not scarce. Like as you invest into the program, you see the principle of sowing and reaping. Like you're sowing, and then you'll see, like you'll reap the benefits from that. And you understand that, like, none of us are struggling because we've invested into a course. Yes, you hear some of the horror stories, but the thing is what has it really done to your mind? Like that's the important thing. But to really go back to to what I was saying about really investing, is that really put a why. Like, are your kids, the reason why you're trying to pursue a business or save up money? Is it, is it time with your kids? And so maybe you work up to that point, or you accumulate the money, and guess what, you spend a wonderful 7 days. Like it wouldn't be nothing to me to be like, okay, let's go on a business trip, or let's go on a vacation. I'll say that,
Yeah.
vacation with, my husband and my kids, and let's just relax and let's do that. And that's what's amazing, right? That's what it's all about. It's not necessarily the money. And what I was telling my husband the other day was, I'm tired. Like, I don't ever want to make a decision again solely based on money.
Yeah.
Oh, I have the money. Oh, I don't have the money. It's just like, Lord, give me the wisdom that even if I have the money, do I need to take this action, or do I not need to take this action?
That's a prayer. That's the prayer for 2021 for the month, for one of the money mindset prayers, right? I love that. Like, give me the wisdom to know what to do with what you've blessed me to have, so
Yeah.
that it goes into the future, right? And it's being sowed into things that's going to replenish and produce the harvest even later, right? Because everything that we do is sowing and reaping. So and it's being good stewards. So I love that. I love that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And to really come from a place and a position of, I know this is like spooky, but abundance, right? A position of, what if you did have the money? Would you still make that decision, or would you not make that decision? Rather than sitting here saying, okay, I don't have the money, so I'm not going to do it, or I do have the money, so I will do it. But it's based on, okay, is this something that I really want to get done? And that's one of the things. It's just really buying back your time, and really just
Mm.
saying, what is the why behind, me generating this revenue?
Yeah, and it really goes, and this principle, and this statement, so to speak, scared money don't make no money. I really there's a lot of truth in that. Think about it from this perspective, right? Have any of you all seen a bug or a spider in the house, right? And someone's like, "Oh, go kill it, go kill it," right? And you go over there to go kill it, but you're timid with your swing, or you're timid with trying to kill it, and you do it scared, and that thing gets away, and then you run it. If you would have committed to it and just went at it, you would have got it. And so I say that because I know we've all been in a situation where we've had to kill a bug or a spider or something, and we were afraid of killing it, and we didn't hit it all the way, we missed it, or we didn't hit it hard enough where it killed it and it got away, and now we got to really go for it. And so the same thing with money. Like, if you are scared to make money, right? If you're scared to spend the money that you have to go back into your future or your business, then it's not going to return, because you're sowing fear. So therefore, it's going to come back, right, in a different form that's produced from fear. And one of my, I remember a former client a while back, they didn't want to really invest in taking certain risk, but the reward of it would have been so much bigger than the initial investment. Scared money don't make no money, right? Don't and so if you are able to shift even from that perspective, right? Still go in with the wisdom, the understanding, asking for the spiritual guidance, but be obedient and commit to it, right? And then it like you said, money can be made. We can always make money, right? Money, and the fact that money is intangible, unless we go to the bank and print out $100 bills or whatever and really physically see it, money is dots and figures and electronic codes and stuff of that nature. So therefore it can be remade, because we're all endowed with gifts, skills, talents, and things of that nature that can make us money. So I love that whole conversation. I know we went on a whole mindset shift, and so to give you all a little background. So before Coach Janelle and I got on, I was like, we're just going to talk. Like, we had the points that we wanted to talk about, but we were going to also just let the spirit lead us down the road of the conversation based on who's going to be listening, who will rewatch it, just so that whatever we're sharing is for whoever's going to listen, right? And so I just want to thank you all. April said, "Ooh, I've been there, so scared." Yeah, let's go say to them bugs, right? Got to commit to it. Commit. Especially if you don't have no spray. I've done it before where I was out of spray and I was like, dang, now I gotta actually gotta put some work, because before, usually I'm just like, spiders, nah, don't like them, because we have a big oak tree, a big tree in the back of our house, and so trees attract a lot of bugs. And so in the summertime, I'm like, I ain't got time, spray, and I keep it moving, but we're out of spray, so I just had to go for it. But I say all to say, same thing, with your finances. So hopefully, hopefully, what we were able to share tonight, and Coach Janelle, her vast experience and her knowledge, was able to give you a different insight, help you to shift your money mindset when it comes to your finances. And again, it starts with your taxes. It starts here. It starts with putting these small elements in place, and starting with the practice of doing the small thing, the basic thing, your taxes, right? Setting up your budget, because those things are always going to be at the foundation of any business. And think of your household as a business. Your household is a business. You're running a business. Your house is a business. So I don't want you to think, and other than some of the tax strategies that apply specifically to businesses, that whatever we're talking about from a strategy perspective does not apply to you because you work a full-time job.
True.
Your home is a business.
True.
It's a business.
Yeah.
So getting these organizational strategies and these tips and these tools are going to help you in running your home, right? Which is your business. So, Coach Janelle, any final words? I'm gonna put up here where they can catch you on Instagram. Definitely, I pinned her website as well for you to go check out her programs and her ebooks. She has a ton of great elements there. But Coach Janelle, any? I know we talked about PPP loans a little bit earlier. Any quick thoughts about PPP loans for any of the business owners out there? What they should do now in 2021 versus what they may not have done correctly in 2020 because it was new, and then after that, any final words you want to share?
Yeah. So with the PPP loan, I'm sorry, I do got to get this off my chest, but
Go ahead.
like it's nothing really deep, but I'm just picturing trying to kill a spider. Like, I don't know. Have you ever tried to like kill a spider, but then it like jumped or
Yeah, like you didn't commit. You got to commit to it, because if you
don't, you don't know where that spider. Oh man,
like, word, I'm gonna come get you. So yeah, scared money don't make no money. Scared hands don't kill no spiders.
Don't kill no spiders. They may fall on you, like you don't know where that spider went, and you going crazy. Yeah. So, that's the only thing I could picture when you were talking about that. I'm like, ooh, like I don't know, made me look all around, but
right, hold up.
really happening. But I love it. So the PPP loans, and I just want to shout out Lavinia for those experiences I get to create, because I now have time freedom, are priceless. And that's the thing, is that you want to get into a place to where you are in freedom, and that is a goal. Like, definitely, like that's one of the goals of mine, is really just having that freedom, because again, you can't buy back the time, but I can always get more money, so That's one of the things. And so, and even to hit on oh, go ahead. Uh-huh.
Well, and that just brought up one quick thing because I remember, I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was the motivational speaker Ed or Jesse,
Mhm.
but they were talking about how at the end of the day, towards the end of our life, the things that you cherish the most are is that time, the small memories, the goofy laughs, the time you were laughing so hard your stomach hurt. It's not always about, ooh, oh, I made this $1 million, or I got this good check, or it's not all about, oh yeah, payday today. It's what the money gives you the freedom to do is the things that we cherish, the time with family and things of that nature. So, like you said, take ownership of money. Don't let money master you, but you're the master of it, and you get to make more money, and you get to decide what you want money to do. And so, I just wanted to add that piece in there, to go with, like you said, what Lavernia said, about what it does for her. It gives her the time freedom to spend more time with family and things like that. So just wanted to reiterate that, because again, like, at the end of the day, the things we care about most when we get towards the end of our lives is the time and the memories that we've had with our families and the ones that we love. So
That's so good. And just to think about, how many experiences can you add to your kid? I mean, your kid's not going to be like, "Oh man, remember that time when you worked these many hours, or remember that time, you were absent, or remember that time when you made that $10 million deal." They're going to be like, "I remember the time when I was with my parents and they took us on this trip. We did something new before, or we traveled the world."
mhm,
I was at a memorial service where, I mean, this great, I mean, he was an awesome man, but what type of father he was like a great, like, testament
mhm,
of the life that he lived. And he really instilled so many experiences into their lives to where they traveled the world since they were kids. And so they were able to see the world. And so I just think about that. Like, what type of experiences do I want to provide to other people?
mhm,
And I know for me, I know my purpose is to add value, right? To add value to someone's life, to see value, to see worth, and to really just add worth to other people. So I love that. And so, and I know we're going to get to the PPP
yeah,
loans.
we're
So
gonna listen, we're gonna drop it. We're gonna drop it
we
for
gonna
you.
drop it, right? And so, what does this mean? If you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them. But on the PPP loans, round two is here. So yeah, round two is here. So you are able to apply for a second round of PPP loans, but there are some more conditions that you have to put in. Again, if you haven't filed for PPP loans, you can file for the first round. But if you're talking about the second round, two important things that you have to look is you can't have more than like 500 or 300 employees. It's some big number, which
Mhm,
most people don't. The other thing is that you have to show a reduction of 25% in any one of the quarters in 2020 versus in 2019. So what does that mean, right? If I made $100,000 in 2019 in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter, my in 2020, my income dropped to 75,000, that means that I meet the 25% reduction from 2019 to 2020. Not talking about from last year to
yeah,
2021, because 2021 hasn't happened all the way yet, but
right,
2019 and 2020. So you got to make sure to compare both of those things. Where a lot of people, it's going to be hard is that if they don't really have any financial statements to show, you know,
right,
you may be able to provide some bank statements. And so that's one of the things that can help. But a little bit of help with the PPP loans is that those that are in a restaurant business, because we've seen how when everything shut down, everything shut down. And even right now, restaurants in different places are operating at a 50% capacity. So that's really hurting that industry. And so you're eligible normally, not for the restaurant business, but normal businesses are able to be eligible for 2.5 times their monthly payroll. For
okay.
restaurant businesses, they did it for 3.5 times because they saw
That's
all of the impact that has been. And also another business impact. Again, I don't know, IRS, they're in a good mood. So one of the things they said in 2021 is that meals in the past have only been 50% deductible. But now in 2021, they're going to be 100% deductible. So they're trying to build the economy
Yeah.
restaurants, right? So just know that that round two is here. You want to get with your banking institution, but you want to see, do you have a 25% reduction? That's
Yeah.
gonna be one of the main things that they're going to check on for sure for that.
Mhm.
So idle loans, those are out as well too. So feel free to, again, that's a loan. PPPs are loans until you get them forgiven in some type of way. So I just want to put that out there. And some of the last things, unless you want to interject with something.
No, no. I mean, I think that's great. A lot of great information, and like you said, it starts with knowing your numbers, and so you don't even have to waste your time applying if you haven't had the 25% reduction.
True.
And you mentioned, um, was it second quarter? Because that's when COVID hit. Was like the second quarter of 2020, so it was 19 to comparing to the second quarter or first quarter.
So that's a good question. It can be any quarters, but it has
Gotcha.
to be compared with the same quarter, like first
From the
quarter,
previous
first
year.
quarter,
Gotcha.
second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, fourth
Right.
quarter. So yeah, so it has to be compared to the same quarter of the previous year.
Gotcha. So for those business owners, you might want to start with your second quarter of 2019 compared to your second quarter of 2020, and because that's really when COVID started to hit. Because first quarter I was still working, I was still traveling. So of 2020, and it's so far away, I almost forgot. I was like, what did I do in January, February? And I had to go back and look, and I was like, oh, I
Mhm.
life was sort of kind of normal right around then. So it just seems so far removed because we've been in the house so long. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
No, I feel you on that. So definitely check your numbers, check your bank statements. That's going to be definitely important. Again, you'll be eligible for like monthly payroll. And also I feel this question, if you're an independent contractor or a sole proprietor, yes, you will be able to apply as well too, but the same conditions are for you as well too. So if you don't have payroll costs,
Mhm.
well, you got to show that you made some profit. You can't have a all the way business loss on your Schedule C in 2019 and a schedule loss and still think you can get the PPP loan. They want to show that you made some income so they can, some profit so that they can, sort of supplement your income. If you show that you haven't been making any income, it's like, okay,
Yeah, did you just start a business like so you can get some PPP loan?
right.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that too. And I mean, some of those funny videos,
Yeah.
I've seen that as well too. And so, but thanks, everyone for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, my link is in the comments and you're able to schedule and book a time for a consultation. Also, just any last points, I just want to say, make sure that you give every dollar an assignment and to really take the time to really get serious about your money this year.
Yes.
Like, because some of us, 2020 has been great, but some of us, we weren't able to reach our goals. So if you're trying to say, listen, I'm trying to reach some money goals, get serious about it because it can definitely happen for you this year.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Coach Janelle, I thank you so much for just in engaging in this free flowing dialogue that we had tonight. Like you all that are still here, shout out to Terrell. He said good stuff. I hope I said that right, my brother. And Lola, amen. But this is a conversation that Coach Janelle and I would have like just on the phone together,
Mm.
right? So I really wanted to create a space where the conversation felt like you all were just a part of it and that you felt comfortable to either have a comment, participate, and share with a friend and whatnot. So I do ask you to do those things. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'll go back through and look at them to make sure we didn't miss anything. Make sure you share this with a friend. The replay will stay up. And so, again, you can share it with a friend, tag a friend in the comments if you think that this information was beneficial to you and can be beneficial to them. Also, make sure I'll be doing Rules of Ross every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every other week, I'll have a guest. And then the opposite week will be me coming in, sharing, teaching something. I'm pushing myself. One of my goals this year is to push myself to teach and show up more. And so giving myself the space and the opportunity to do so. So 2021 definitely is a year of stretching. And so I'm excited to push myself. And so as I push myself, um, I call you all to do the same for yourself. Stretch, rest when you need to, sow into yourself, but also stretch yourself. You won't break, but stretch yourself so that you can grow, that you can expand, whether it's your mindset, whether it's your relationships. That's one of the things that I'll definitely ask you. For those of you who are tuning in, I was in the this month's Essence article, Essence, February of 2021, with Rihanna on the cover. And it's the 2021 Your Shine Plan. My great friend Sharia K. Jackson is the writer of the article. And so what she does is she just kind of sets you up to really get your shine on and your shine plan for 2021. And so there's 12 months. I think it's six of us are included, providing some information and insight from our personal experience. But each month has a theme, a focus, and a declaration to help you in your journey throughout 2021. And so it's a lot of great information, but it's something for each month of the year. So make sure that you go and grab that. If you go to my page, there is a link to it, but I'll drop it in the comments here after the live is over so that you can have access to that. But it's really about pouring resources into you all. I mean, it's the last week in January of 2021. February will be here next Monday. And so things, although new, things are still moving pretty fast. And so make sure, again, you go and you catch up with Coach Janelle, visit her website, book a consult with her. She is amazing. She does amazing work. And it's nothing like having someone that you trust and has that knows what they are doing, but also has a good spirit, especially when it's talking about dealing with your finances. She really wants you all to be successful and to see you win. And so definitely make sure you reach out, you book a consult, you follow her, and all that good stuff. And you can also follow me, Derek D. Ross. I have classes up there. I have a class uh, on my classes pages on my website to get in position. So if you are an entrepreneur, business owner, then I have strategies to help you. 9 strategies, that proven strategies that I've done to help me streamline my business online, to help you be found easier online as a business owner, and to help you get in position to you leverage your gift and position yourself to win in whatever it is that you do in your business. It's really a foundational course. And so it'll help you get your mind right and get you prepared. And then also you can book a strategy session with me. So all that's on that page. And then you can connect with me on all social media platforms, Derek D. Ross. And so peace, love. Yes, my copy came last week. My sister's on. She said her copy came last week. Awesome, awesome. Hashtag money goals. So yes, yes, yes. So again, thank you, Coach Janelle, so much for investing your time. Thank you all for investing your time and sticking it out with us, and listening and just being so interactive. We love it. We appreciate you more than you know. And until next time, until next week, thank you for tuning in to the Rules of Ross podcast. I'm your host, Derek D. Ross. Peace, love, stay safe, wash your hands, all that good stuff. We're almost to the end. Just stay going. Not a sprint.